This video will show how to and when you can use HID MyFair credentials when you have existing HID readers connected to Mercury and you want to bring Salto locks into the mix. So again, this is for when you have an existing deployment and you need to integrate an existing environment with the addition of Salto locks. What we show here is going to assume that a Vigilon Unity Access, formerly known as ACM, and Salto are integrated and you're deploying that way. So the card model that we're going to talk about using today is the part number listed here. This is available in a Vigilon's price list as an existing card. When you order this is different than most of the things with Salto. The deployment would require, when you order the programming, that you provide what we do traditionally with HID cards, which includes format information, facility code, and start and stop numbers for that order. The Mercury-based HID readers will still read the number that is encoded on the card directly, not the Salto card. And again, keep in mind, it's not going to give you Salto updates on this, but it will allow that single card to use existing hardware to make those doors open. This also requires the use of a Salto SAMKit 9 in order to write Salto onto these cards. Important note, even though it's an HID product, it is not the I-class version of the SAMKit. It is the MyFair version, which gives you the flexibility of programming within the system itself. Very important, there are certain readers this will work with and certain ones it won't. If you have the older HID R and RP series, what's been around for many years, those will support it as long as it's a model that accepts the reading of MyFair and also has not been edited with any sort of programming card to remove that capability. In the HID Signo series, you can use the 0002, T0, and T2 versions. These are the ones that are the multi-class versions of them, where MyFair is part of it. Very important, you cannot use the HID Signo profile 0, 1, or T1. Those only read I-class CEOs. They do not read anything else. Even though the credentials are HID, they will not read the MyFair cards on those. But again, these models it will. The assumption in our system is that the card format that you order will be matched up with something that is currently in the ACM system, or that in your assignment of formats to readers on the boards, you have room to add whatever format you do and put that over there. You cannot have the card numbers match existing ones, even though the format and it's a MyFair card are different. The fact is, the way these are read in with HID readers, it's validating the information for the programming and the card number. They cannot be duplicates. It must be a different series of card numbers. And this also assumes that you have Unity Access properly licensed, connected to Salto Space. You have the ship integration license from Salto connected over. And again, that SAMKit 9 license must be in place. So I'm going to demonstrate how the different types of readers see the cards. So first we're going to go with the R series reader. So when I do an I-class card, that shows up normal. When I do an HID MyFair Desfire card, that shows up normal. Works the way you expect. Were you to have a card not yet programmed in the system, you still see it as an unknown card. However, although these cards will see a signal from the MyFair cards of other kinds, they're not getting the secure information. So you notice invalid card format for an Allegiant card, invalid card format for a Farpoint card. But again, an HID MyFair card will read normally with the programmed information in the system. Converting over to the T-Series reader, this is a T2, you'll notice in the system, my I-Class card reads fine, my HID Desfire card reads fine, the unprogrammed as of yet card still shows as an unknown card. However, when I use a Legion or Farpoint, those MyFair cards are not read. So again, the use of the HID MyFair credential will work on these readers as long as they have not been programmed to not accept it. So we're now going to create the identity and assign the card into them. So we'll make a new person in the system. All right, we're going to go with new HID card. So when we do this, we're going to get to the roles tab, and now I have a role set for my HID readers, and I have a role set for my Salto locks. Please note you can have a role that has both of them in the same one. System works fine that way for my purposes. I just have it divided out. Once I get to this, I'm going to change to my token type down to Salto, which moves the fields to things applicable to a Salto credential. Once I set my guidelines for the programming of what I would like this to do, I'm going to assign the Salto credential information onto the HID MyFair card. Again, this is the use of the SAMKit 9 license that allows you to do this. At this point on the credential, Salto information is written. I still do need to assign the HID number with that format information we used to order it. So I'm going to go back. I'm going to make an additional token. Even though it's the same card, it counts as 2 tokens in the system. Under the internal number, I'm going to use the card number of this one, which is 1008. Again, you can edit information based on the use of normal HID credentials tied to Mercury boards, etc. In that case, all I need is that information. So you'll see in the system, under this identity, there are now 2 tokens. It is one card. One is the internal number of this card. The other one is the Salto information that you see and the coding that went on that. So now to demonstrate how the credential works, so I have my single HID MyFair card. On an HID reader, the transaction shows. If I were to go to a wired Salto reader, that transaction will show as well. And you notice it identifies based on the different internal token numbers, either the one that we programmed in using the HID information encoded on the card, or the Salto information written onto the card. If I touch this to a online wireless lock, you'll see that transaction show up. I can use this on my offline locks. Those transactions don't show yet, again, because I haven't touched an online Salto reader. I can read at an offline Salto lock with a low battery. That transaction is on here. Now, again, remember, with Salto, when I use an HID reader with the HID card, it's only showing that transaction because it's using the programmed information, card number 1008. However, when this card goes to a Salto update point, so a hardwired reader, you'll notice the transactions all download from there off the card, including the low battery alert tied to the offline lock that was there. So again, a HID MyFair card can work on all these locks. Just remember, it is using the internal number of the card that you ordered with the programming on an HID reader, and then all the Salto functionality happens like we're used to on the Salto cards for offline, online, wired, etc. So to summarize, Salto needs to be integrated to Avigilon Unity Access, as Avigilon Unity Access is the platform running the Mercury boards with the HID readers connected to it and all the process that works there. Salto does not manage Mercury boards with HID readers directly. It is one card, but you still enter 2 token numbers under the identity. The first one is the internal number that is printed on the card and is what you ordered in your format information. The second one is the Salto information that we are encoding directly using the Salto encoder onto the smart chip. There are specific models that work. The model number of the card that is in this presentation is in compatibility mode, which will allow the Salto information to be written on the smart chip. Remember, there are only certain HID readers that will work. It's a lot of them, but you don't want to present a solution that is not going to work because you didn't follow those guidelines. Do be aware, again, the Signo O1 or T1 series will not work, and the other ones should just be tested to make sure, in the case of the R or RP, that a card was not used to turn it off, or it was a special model that was ordered for a different kind of card format. And in the case of Signos, that the models that are there were not edited for some other reason, removing that capability using HID's Reader Manager app. And then remember also, Salto transactions only happen when the card is presented to Salto readers. So either hardwired readers or any wireless that are update points. You do not get that on the HID readers. That is just a door opening using the same credential.